The Splatoon series has been one of my favorite new franchises in recent years, so in anticipation of Splatoon 3, I wanted to go through each game in the series. In 2015, Splatoon was developed as a new IP for the Wii U. Despite the console's poor sales, the game was relatively successful and was regarded as one of the standout titles for the system. Without further ado, let's revisit the original Splatoon. Splatoon takes place in a post-apocalyptic future, where humans are extinct and amphibious creatures have evolved to live on land. Because of rising sea levels, the Inklings and the Octarians fought the Great Turf War over the remaining land. The Inklings ultimately won, forcing the Octarians into hiding. 100 years later, a young Inkling arrives at Inkopolis Plaza and sees a news broadcast announcing the disappearance of the Great Zapfish, the source of the city's power. They also spot a mysterious Inkling and follow him to Octo Valley, where he reveals that he's Captain Cuttlefish, the leader of the Squidbeak's platoon during the Great Turf War. He explains that the Octarians have captured the Great Zapfish and recruits the Inkling as Agent 3 of the new Squidbeak's platoon. With guidance from Captain Cuttlefish and his granddaughters, a pop idol duo called the Squid Sisters, Agent 3 sets out to rescue the Great Zapfish and stop the Octarians. Regarding its presentation, Splatoon is visually unique. The character designs are charming and distinct, and the environments are varied and often feature abstract backgrounds. The sound design is also impressive, with impactful sound effects, and a soundtrack featuring a variety of fictional artists of different musical genres. In terms of gameplay, Splatoon is a third-person shooter with some platforming. Octo Valley is divided into 5 areas, and each has several stages and a boss encounter. Most levels consist of interconnected platforms, with different Octarian enemy types and hazards, and the goal is to rescue a Zapfish at the end of each level. Some levels incorporate multiplayer areas and involve special enemies, like Octo-Strikers that can launch powerful missiles, and Octolings that have similar weapons and abilities to the Inklings. The bosses, known as the Great Octo Weapons, generally have straightforward attack patterns and are easy to defeat. Agent 3 has a variety of equipment and abilities to help them navigate each stage. Their starting weapons are the Hero Shot, a rapid-fire gun, and splat bombs that detonate after a short time. Weapons use ink, and Agent 3 can turn into a squid and swim through their ink that lands on coverable surfaces. When swimming, the ink gauge on their back recovers more quickly, and they can move faster and jump farther. The squid form is also used for actions like riding ink rails and passing through grates. In addition to taking damage from enemy attacks, Agent 3 can't swim through the Octarian's ink and will gradually take damage while moving in it. If they don't take damage for a set amount of time, Agent 3's health will automatically recover, but they'll respawn to the previous checkpoint if they're defeated. They start each stage with 3 lives, and reaching a checkpoint will restore a lost life. In specific stages, there are items that provide additional weapons or defense. Canned specials temporarily grant special weapons from the multiplayer, like the Inkzuka and the Bubbler. Armor can also be found, and collecting multiple armor items provides even more defense. There are also several collectibles in each stage, like power eggs that are used to upgrade Agent 3's gear and unlock additional types of bombs, and a sunken scroll that details the history of the characters or setting. While Agent 3 typically uses the Hero Shot, there are amiibo challenges featuring alternate weapons, like the Hero Charger and Hero Roller. 3 stages and the boss from each area have challenge versions, so over half of the stages are playable with each amiibo weapon. Completing these challenges also unlocks exclusive clothing and weapon variations for the multiplayer. Splatoon's controls are designed around the Wii U gamepad's features. A map is displayed on the touchscreen, and when in hub areas, it's possible to launch to any previously discovered stage entrance by tapping it. There are also optional gyro controls for aiming. When using gyro controls, the right stick only controls horizontal aiming, and the Y button recenters the camera. The ZR button fires the main weapon, R activates sub-weapons like bombs, and clicking in the right stick activates specials. The ZL button is used to turn into the Inkling's squid form, and the X button is used to jump. While Splatoon's Octo Valley is a fun introduction to the gameplay and controls of the series, It's somewhat simplistic because of its low difficulty and short length. The level layouts are generally straightforward, and most enemies and bosses are easy to defeat. Many stage elements are also underutilized, and only appear in a limited number of levels. While there is a story mode, Splatoon emphasizes its multiplayer modes. The Inklings have the same abilities as in the campaign, but there are a few additional features. When an Inkling is defeated, they'll respawn at their starting point after a few seconds, and it's possible to launch to the spawn point or other players using the touchscreen. Specials are permanently equipped, but must be charged by covering a specific amount of ground with ink. 2 teams of 4 players compete to fulfill specific objectives. The main mode is Turf Wars, where each team tries to cover the most ground in their ink color within 3 minutes. 2 stages are randomly available at a given time, and the stage rotation updates every 4 hours. There are also special Turf Wars events called Splatfests, where the Squid Sisters would represent opposing sides in a theme, and players would battle to determine which choice was superior. There are also ranked battle modes with unique rule sets. Splat Zones involves capturing and holding specific areas for a set amount of time. In Tower Control, each team tries to ride a tower to the other team's starting area. Rainmaker involves carrying a powerful weapon to a pedestal at the other team's spawn point. All ranked battles last for 5 minutes or until one team completes the objective. Only one mode is playable at a time, and the player's rank is shared across all 3 modes. In addition to the 2 available stages for ranked battles, the mode also updates at 4-hour intervals. Competing in multiplayer battles grants money and experience points. In Inkopolis Plaza, there are several shops that sell clothes and weapons, but different items are locked until players reach specific level requirements. There are many weapon classes, and most weapons have variations with different sub-weapons and specials. Each clothing item has a main attribute and up to 3 secondary benefits. By spending money or Super Sea Snails that were rewards for competing in Splatfests, it's possible to add additional ability slots or reroll the secondary abilities on a piece of clothing. There's also a local multiplayer mode called the Battle Dojo. In this mode, 2 players compete to pop balloons. One person plays on the television screen, while the other uses the Wii U gamepad screen. Defeating the other player causes them to lose points, and the match ends after 3 minutes or if one player reaches 30 points. While the multiplayer is fun, it can be difficult to find matches now. At launch, it also lacked content, with more maps and weapons being added throughout its first year of release. The long time between stage rotations also results in playing a small selection of stages for hours, and the news broadcasts announcing the incoming map rotations interrupt the gameplay. Overall, Splatoon is a fun game, but doesn't reach its full potential. The story mode is fun but limited, and its multiplayer is hindered by its smaller player base in recent years. It's still enjoyable for its characters, setting, and lore, but because of its multiplayer focus, Splatoon is somewhat difficult to recommend as a single-player experience. With that being said, thank you for watching, and next time I'll be going over Splatoon 2.